Good morning all. I welcome you all on the behalf of StudyIQ IAS English. My name is Pritesh Mathurkar. I extend my warmest regards to everyone, those who are joining me live and those who will be watching these sessions as per their convenience. So I welcome you all to the discussion of today's current affairs, that is 6th of May 2023. In these sessions, we will be predominantly discussing the articles which are important from present day's Hindu. Yes, good morning, Anu. And through these sessions, I tend to achieve two things with everyone. The first thing being that in these sessions, we'll be focusing primarily on the analysis of Hindu. Why so? Because all of you know that the civil services examination is an evolutionary examination. Okay, it basically follows the theory of Charles Darwin, theory of evolution. So each year the questions tend to evolve. Each year the questions tend to change their character. Okay, so there is a character shift in the questions, and now if you see, majority of the questions, they come from an analytical perspective. Hence the analysis of any day's Hindu becomes very important as to where you can use that. And now the second most important part, okay, you have done the analysis. Now what's the utilitarian value of that analysis? Okay, wherein you can use all that knowledge, all that content. So that is where I will come in handy, wherein I will try to paint a picture of a utilitarian perspective for any day's Hindu. So using this, I tend to cover roughly 30 to 40 marks of your prelims discourse, and I tend to cover roughly 100 to 200 to 50 marks of your mains discourse. And again, I'm reiterating, guys, if essay comes in your purview, then we can have a detailed analysis, or we can have even scoring of roughly 300 to 400 marks. Guys, always please be hungry for marks in your mains, because marks are everything. If you get good marks in mains, then you can have a little bit of leverage in your interview, in your personality test. Because please remember, mains is a test of what? Mains is a test of your character. Why? Because in mains you have to express your experience, whatever you have got in your preparation. So mains will always be a character test, whereas the personality test will always be a interview or a personality test. Okay, so that is the difference between the mains and the interview. Okay, so mains will test your character, interview will test your personality, and prelims, what will prelims test? Prelims will test whether you have the right prerequisites, whether you can appreciate the diversity of current affairs, whether you can have so much information imbibed in yourselves that you are able to lead this country, that you are able to become an able civil servant. Okay, so that are the three stages of this examination. So before moving forward, what I normally do in these lectures is that I discuss the detailed PDFs, I discuss the detailed analysis of the present day articles, and all of these PDFs, as I'm showcasing on the board, are freely available to you all, so that after my discussion you can easily download those PDFs and you can make your own bundle, you can make your own file folders. And mind you guys, your handwritten file folders will serve your purpose. Your handwritten file folders will help you in getting good marks in mains. No other current affairs material, no other current affairs source will be so damn potent in your preparation as to your source only. You don't have to run helter shelter here there for your analysis. You can just do the analysis of current affairs on yourself and keep it with you. So just stick with me, just have faith in me, we will set sail through. And I'm again reiterating, guys, I am not a faculty which will cringe in every damn aspect of the news that is happening in the article as much as possible. No, because you and I are all working on an evolutionary trend. So you and I will evolve together. Okay, so if any article is important, we will do that. If that article is so damn important that someday it will again come back, it will reiterate, so we will use the previous days or the previous analysis of that article into the new article. So this is how we will tend to evolve. This is how we will tend to cringe more and more information from only those articles which we have covered already. Okay, so this will be a typical workflow. So let me just quickly introduce myself. My name is Pritesh Mathurkar. I will be your primary faculty for handling of the current affairs per se, and you can reach out to me on a Telegram channel called as HAZ. It stands for Hindu Analysis Zone. I have deliberately kept the name HAZ on the lines of SEZ. I have not yet added special Hindu analysis zone. Why? Because that S needs to be added by you. Okay. Speciality comes from love. If you love something, it means that you should make that feel, or you should make that person feel special. Okay, that's the true definition of love. Otherwise, if there is no speciality, there is no love. So this S you will have to add on your own. It will be how you fall in love with the current affairs and how you treat them. Treatment is very important in life, guys. Okay, without able treatment, nothing comes due in your life. Okay, so this S you will have to add. And for joining, you can just do a global search on Telegram at the Hindu Analysis Zone. So just after the discussion of today's analysis, I will quickly upload the PDF, so that just after finishing the class, you sit for half hour more and you are done and dusted with your current affairs. So 45 minutes to 50 minutes with me, 15 to max 30 minutes with you. So in 1.5 hours, you are taken care of the current affairs. And mind you, these sessions will be intense, as some of you who are watching me from since day one, or those who will join me in subsequent sessions, these sessions do tend to become intense. So please make sure that you follow this very, very properly. Okay. So let's begin with the discussion of today's articles. Okay. So in every lecture, in every discussion, in every analysis, I tend to paint a picture of the severity score of the articles, wherein I tend to rank articles from their utilitarian perspective in prelims, in mains, and your interview preparation. So yesterday's severity score was between 7 to 9. Okay, 2 articles were very important, dare I say 3 articles, and 2 of the articles were between 3 to 5. But today's severity score is moderated. On an average, today's articles will carry a severity score between 4 to 6. So some of the articles are fairly important from mains perspective. 2 articles are very important from prelims perspective, wherein you can expect direct questions or direct one-liner in your prelims. So please make sure that you are comfortable with the severity score of the articles. I rank between 0 to 10. So today is moderate severity score. You will understand the articles very easily. You can easily remember those articles. Only 2 or 3 technical terms will be there in the articles which you need to imbibe in yourselves. Rest all it's done. Okay. And guys, I have not yet said this to you all, but for the first time I'm saying this, and mind you guys, this will be very important for your mains preparation. Your answers should reflect the terminologies of the question or the discipline in which the question has been framed. What do you mean by this, guys? That if you have a question based on polity, so your answer should reflect the polity based terminologies. Upper house, lower house, government of India, president of India, governor of India, gubernatorial office, august office. So these terms should be reflected in your answers. If you have any answer with regards to history, so timeline, causes, consequences, okay, the dynasties involved, so there should be some historical terms in your answers. If any answer is coming from the view of geography, so it should include geographical terminologies too. So the greater purpose of Hindu analysis, the greater purpose of this discussion between you and me is twofold. Number one, we are learning what? We are already learning the analysis. But number two, we are learning what? We are also learning the terminologies. Hence, I keep on saying in the lectures, remember the term, remember the quote, remember, quote, memorize. Why do I say this? Because your answers should reflect those terminologies. So the first article that I'll be discussing with you all today is worth remembering from that perspective only. So I told you that if any big person is writing an article, it's your duty, and rather it's my humble duty to summarize that article for you all. So the first article is written by one of the most honorary persons that we have. Okay, it is written by Sir M.K. Narayanan. M.K. Narayanan, who is M.K. Narayanan? So M.K. Narayanan is basically a former national security advisor and former governor of West Bengal. So just imagine if any national security advisor is writing an article, so how damn important that article becomes. Okay, and the horizon for India's beyond G20 and SCO summit. So in this article, what Sir is arguing is that we should not only look on the positives, we should not only see the rosy picture of India helming the presidency of G20 SCO, but we should also take into account the present day geopolitical challenges, the present day geopolitical headwinds, because he being a national security advisor, he being in the sense he was, so he knows that security is not temporary. Okay, security is ever evolving. Okay, the threat perceptions, they keep on evolving. Rather the political stage, rather the drama, rather the aspects, they keep on changing on the world stage. Okay, so security threat perceptions are not constant, they keep on changing, they keep on evolving. So this is an article with regards to the ever evolving character of the security threat perceptions. What was a security threat 10 years prior is no more a security threat. Why? Because now the world has advanced. Okay, so now you will have to make sure that your country is able to deal with the new security challenges which the new geopolitical order is throwing in front of us. Okay, so this is a very important article with regards to opinion forming, with regards to you knowing what are the present security challenges and what India should work upon. Okay, so please remember this article from this perspective: geopolitical challenges for India, the horizon for India beyond the G20 and the SCO summit. So please make sure you get this, that this is a future based article wherein what are the future geopolitical headwinds that we'll be discussing. Okay, so let's move ahead. And guys, whatever I have marked, only that you have to read from this PDF. You don't have to read anything else. And make sure that whatever I'm speaking with you all, you are remembering my words. Okay, so priorities listed by India as signifying its presidency. Okay, priorities listed by India as signifying its presidency. Okay, so when India got the G20 presidency last year in Bali, Indonesia, so India did list out that what will be its priorities in the discussions with regards to the G20 presidency and with regards to also the SCO presidency. So what are the priorities listed by India? They are threefold. Number one is of course going to be climate change. Number two, it is going to be clean energy. Okay, why? You all know present era is the era of green clean energy. Okay, we have already carbonized the atmosphere to such an extent that now we are having global warming, and because of global warming we are having climate change. So you need to have focus on clean energy too, and then you have to focus on sustainable development programs and reforms of multilateral institutions. So climate change, clean energy, sustainable development programs, and reforms of multilateral institutions. What multilateral institutions predominantly? United Nations. You all know that India is openly advocating for a reform in the United Nations Security Council, which is a permanent arm or permanent organ of United Nations, which seeks to maintain peace and order in the global world order. But you all know that UNSC has been pegged by numerous issues with regards to the veto rights. So if any country brings in any resolution, the P5 countries or the member countries of the United Nations Security Council can just veto that resolution. So that is not done, guys. So we also tend to do what? We also tend to reform the multilateral institution. So these were the 3 to 4 key areas which India said will work upon as it got the presidency of G20 and SCO summit. Now let's move ahead. So what is the present day scenario? What is the present day scenario? What is happening? That today you are having two camps and distrust. Now, what do you mean by two camps and what do you mean by distrust? Okay, you all know that there is an ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine, and you all know Ukraine is backed by whom? Ukraine is backed by USA. Okay, why? Because Ukraine is now being used as a test bed. This is very important. Okay, there are two camps fighting. One camp is of the Western Front, one camp is of the Eastern Front. So what are these two camps using Ukraine as? This is very important, guys. Ukraine is being used as a test bed. Test bed of what? Test bed of modern weaponry. What USA is doing basically, USA is sending its weapons to Ukraine, and thereby it is seeing that how good its weapons function in present day circumstances, because there is no active test bed as of now. The only active test bed for the US weapons is on the front lines of Ukraine and Russian war. So what is happening now? That USA is also testing its weapons, and Russia is also now using very potent weapons. There is yesterday's news only. Yesterday news means today morning news, that Russia has basically embezzled. Russia has basically done what? It has embezzled the city of Bakhmut in the eastern Ukraine with white phosphorus. Okay, white phosphorus is banned under the Geneva Conventions. Okay, but Russia has used that. So both of the camps are now using the Ukraine as a test bed for testing their weapons, and this is not good, guys. And so because of this, what is happening? There is a distrust in the sense of what, whom to trust and whom not to trust. Why? Because now you are having countries like Germany, you are having countries like South Korea, you are having countries like UK, France sending their weapons. So basically what is happening, that all of these countries are somehow involved in the war because you are supplying weapons. Is Ukraine capable of self-production? No. So you are doing what, guys? You are supplying the weapons. So ultimately or indirectly, you are somehow involved in the war. So there is a distrust now whom to trust and whom not to trust. And here what is happening? Russia is now being helped by China. Okay, there are also some news that China is even laundering money. It is even laundering some weaponries from North Korea and supplying it to Russia. So see what is happening on the eastern front as compared to the western front. So there is a distrust between the two camps, and we can just read this paragraph, we can just analyze this paragraph, and you also need to remember this. Okay, so test beds for weapons. The process of assembling the most advanced arsenal of weapons in modern history had begun quite some time ago, but it was April that witnessed an apogee of sorts. Apart from US and European nations such as Germany, many nations elsewhere are participating in what is turning out to be the Europe's war with a global impact. So, assembling of modern weapons started a long time ago, but its use started basically in April. Okay. The list of potential suppliers of military equipment now includes even countries such as South Korea. Okay, even South Korea is now supplying weapons, risking the threat that supplying arms to Ukraine makes them a participant in the conflict. So guys, you can quote the Russia-Ukraine war as a pseudo world war. Please make sure you are comfortable with this, as a pseudo world war. Okay. So Russia-Ukraine conflict can be termed as a pseudo world war, where what is happening, the countries are sending their weapons and they are basically using using Ukraine's soil as a test bed for their weapons. So guys, this is not at all done. We need to do something. Why? Because if Ukraine gets engulfed in this, you all know what's the future of Ukraine. Okay, Ukraine will neither be a part of Western Front, neither be a part of the Eastern Front. Okay. Now, the issues for India begin with China. Okay, so now here the author argues that what are the present challenges for India with regards to its eastern neighbor. Okay, foremost is how to deal with a rampaging China currently on a major diplomatic cum strategic offensive across Asia, especially West Asia. Please remember, major diplomatic cum strategic offensive. Two conflicting words, guys. And mind you, any answer on policy discussion, any answer on the politics of West Asia or India's involvement in West Asia should include this now. Okay, diplomatic come strategic offensive. Diplomacy is basically a kind of soft power, but now China is doing what? China is doing offensive diplomacy. Offensive diplomacy means what? It is using its political ambit, it is using its economic status to broker in deals. So recently China brokered in deal with Saudi Arabia and Iran, which is touted as one of the most difficult and most aggressive stance of China. Why? Because Saudi Arabia and Iran are very staunch enemies. But China, using its political clout, using its economical clout, and it bolstered its diplomacy, it bolstered its offensive, and it brokered a deal with Saudi Arabia and Iran. So China is now basically changing its stance. China was using hard power based options, but now China is slightly moving towards diplomacy. But mind you, the policy which India uses soft diplomacy. China is exactly using the opposite. It is using offensive diplomacy. So this is the difference between India's strategy and China's strategy. India's strategy is focused on soft diplomacy, the big brother approach, whereas China's diplomacy is focused on offensive diplomacy, wherein using its political clout, its economic clout, its clout as a major manufacturing hub, you are basically pursuing the countries to sign the deals. You are acting as a broker. Okay, so this is further accompanied by flexing of its military muscle in Ladakh and Arunachal sectors of the Sino-Indian border. So with the West Asia, China is using offensive diplomacy, but in India, it is still pursuing the hardcore military-based option. Okay. This is only likely to reduce room for maneuver in India's part at a time when China is launching several regional initiatives to checkmate India in the Indian Ocean region with the West. So you all know Indian Ocean region is very important for India. So it is China has launched what? China has launched China-India Ocean Region Forum, which has seen participation by overwhelming majority of Indian Ocean states. Also, and unlike India, which seeks to limit the conflict with China to border issues. Okay, so China, like India's Bharat Mala program, Sagar Mala program, China has also launched China Indian Ocean Region Forum, which has seen participants from many of the Indian Ocean states. So China is even trying to counter India in maritime security. Okay, China is actively engaged in seeking new friends in India's extended neighborhood in a bid to limit India's influence in this region. Why West Asia is so damn important for India? West Asia is so damn important for India. Why? Because of diaspora. Okay, India has got the highest number of diaspora in West Asia, and this diaspora sends remittances in the forms of dollar to India. So this diaspora is very important, and hence India's extended neighborhood, the West Asia, is very important, West Asia or the Middle East. But now China is slowly stepping into that territory. So China is basically stepping into the footsteps of India. So the Chinese dragon is now advancing. This is a very, very bone of caution. This is a very, very important aspect which India should not neglect. India should be extremely wary. India should be extremely cautious with regards to the threading of China in West Asia and using India's tactics only, but having an offensive stance. Okay, so it is like someone is using this tool. This tool was used by me, but now someone is using this tool, and this tool is now being improvised further. So someone is writing very beautifully and someone is writing with very fast using this marker only. Whereas I was using this marker, but I was using this marker for slow writing, very good writing. But now all that matters is how you write and how fast you write. So China is using the same thing. Diplomacy based approach was India's strategy, soft core diplomacy, but now China is using diplomacy but using it on an aggravated scale, using it on an offensive scale. Okay, West Asia, once a region where India's influence was predominant, appears to be fast yielding to China's muscular and diplomatic offensive. So the West Asia is now yielding to China's muscular and diplomatic offensive. You need to remember this. Okay, so China is using what? It is using muscular and diplomatic offensive in West Asia, which is India's extended neighborhood. Okay, so let's now move forward. Okay, it is well aware of China's ability to embark upon hybrid warfare. Okay, guys, you need to remember the Chinese warfare strategy. This is very, very important, and you need to memorize this. Why? Because this will help you in forming the opinion. This will help you in understanding how the modern warfare works and what headwinds India faces. So I will be going very slowly with regards to the discussion of the Chinese warfare strategy. So if I ask you one word as to how is the China's warfare policy, so it is what? Hybrid warfare. Okay, hybrid warfare, including what? Including the adoption of cyber tactics, engage in the politics of water by redirecting the Himalayan rivers. So including adoption of cyber tactics. So you have numerous cyber attacks. Recently there was a cyber attack on the AIMS servers in Delhi. Adoption of cyber tactics, engage in politics of water by redirecting the Himalayan rivers and adapting to modern conditions. The tactics popularized by the 5th century BCE Chinese strategist Sun Tzu of winning the wars without fighting through avoiding the enemy's strength and attacking his weakness. So there was a 5th century BC Chinese strategist Sun Tzu. He said that you should win wars by without fighting them. How you can win wars without fighting them? By attacking someone's weakness and living out its strengths. Why? Because normally what we tend to do, we tend to focus more upon our strengths and we try to keep our weakness in a dark spot as much as possible. But now China is exactly doing the opposite. China knows that India's cyber security is not that strong. India is a agricultural country. It is dependent on water resources for irrigation. So what we do is we start redirecting the waters of Himalayan rivers. Now China is building one of the biggest dams on river Brahmaputra. So now just imagine if China stops the water in Tibet. It is called as river Sangpo in Tibet. So what will happen in the lower catchment areas of Assam? It will suffer incessantly. So this is not done, guys. So China is doing what? China is pursuing a hybrid warfare strategy wherein it is resulting to cyber tactics, wherein it is resulting to redirecting the Himalayan rivers, and it is using a strategy by given in the 5th century BC by Sun Tzu that you attack the enemy's weakness and not the strength. So you win wars without fighting them. This is a very beautiful quote line. You can start your essays with this quote too. Hence, I've written, remember the Chinese warfare strategy. Okay. Now, the last point of this article, what is happening with Russia? Okay, and what is happening in the Afghanistan? You all know the situation in Afghanistan appears to be steadily worsening. Even in that country are now beginning to affect nations on its periphery. India has meanwhile lost all traction with Taliban in Afghanistan. Pakistan, Sri Lanka to different degree repairs the worst case scenarios. So you all know that USA left Afghanistan in a limbo and India had to engage with Taliban for evacuating the citizens. India had to engage with Taliban to securing the borders. But now all of that is losing traction. And with Pakistan and with Sri Lanka, you all know the conditions are not that good. Okay. But if you see S. Jaisankar's press conference yesterday with regards to the SCO organization, you will see a very funny incident that he called Pakistan as a harbinger of terrorism and he called the Pakistan's foreign minister as a spokesperson of terrorism. So this is very aggressive kind of diplomacy which India is now pursuing with regards to Pakistan. But yes, sometimes it like life warrants that you need to have a hardcore based approach. Okay, so you need to have some hardcore strategies sometimes in your life if you want to crush others. That is what India is now doing. Okay, and the last part, okay, with Russia, China's strategic relationship getting stronger and both countries opening giving vent to their belief in the utility of such relationship. Strains are inevitable in Russia-India relations. Russia's unequivocal attack on the Quad during the SCO defense ministers meeting in New Delhi recently is a pointer to the winds of change that are becoming evident. So you all know that India is a member of Quad. It ensures the security, maritime security of the Indian Ocean, of the Arabian Sea and the Southern Indian Ocean. But Russian defense minister basically did what? He became a very vocal critic of that member. Okay. And also the economic content of the bilateral relationship is limited and for the present linked to trading in oil, imparting little dynamism to the relationship. So the economic relationship or the bilateral relationship with Russia is now also in the doldrums. Why? Because our relationship with Russia is primarily with regards to importing of oil. And yesterday only we discussed that the talks have failed with India and Russia with regards to the import of oil from India in rupees. So Russia is saying that we need to halt this strategy. Why? Because Russia will be left by a surplus of roughly $40 billion, but that too in rupees. So now that talks have failed. So India needs to move out of this oil-based bilateral economic relationship with Russia. India needs to evolve its relationship with Russia too. So Yogesh, neighborhood mean the immediate neighbors of India, the neighboring countries of India. Okay, so in neighborhood, challenges with China are different. China is engaging with advanced warfare, with hybrid warfare. Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Afghanistan, they're all in their economic turmoil. All of them are in their security turmoil. And India and Russia, being all brother friends, their relationship is now stuck. So there is a phase out in the relationship of India and Russia. It needs to evolve beyond the oil based economic relationship. We need to have certain good dimensions to this relation wherein we move ahead of only trading with oil and basically India exporting something good to Russia which Russia can buy. So this was the crux of this article, guys, a very eye-opener article, and these articles are very important for essays. These articles are very important for your opinion formation in interviews. So please read this, please summarize this article from this perspective. I'm again reiterating, unless and until you all work upon the articles, it's not enough. Okay, so let's move ahead with the discussion of the next article today. So the next article that I'm discussing today is fairly a new article. Okay, I know that majority of the aspirants mustn't be knowing this, but it's important that we all discuss this issue. Okay, majority aspirants including me, okay, I was also not knowing that we have done such a stupendous progress in smart meters. So you and me are again in the same territory. Guys, it's not that in life you shouldn't accept your shortcomings. In life it is very important that you accept your shortcomings too. Okay, I being your faculty of current affairs does not mean that I am a person who knows everything. No, my knowledge is limited to understanding the world of last 8 years only. You have people who have given more than 50-60 years of their life to understanding the world order, and you have numerous such people. So I'm nowhere near to them, but what I can do, what I am expert in, is how you can utilize this knowledge in your mains. That's my expertise, but it does not mean that I will know everything. Okay, and there is no shame, there is no harm in accepting that too, because you and me are both evolved together. So even this article was eye-opening for me, because I never thought that India did such good progress in smart meters. So it's a thing of pride for us, and it's a good thing that we are investing in such technologies, and rather people are accepting such technologies with good vigor. So it is very nice that such kind of development has happened. So let's move ahead. Okay, so switching on India's smart electricity future. Okay, this article is with regards to consumer centric reforms in power sector. Okay, now you all know that in summers your house bill goes off the roofs. Why? Because in summers you turn on the coolers, you turn on the air conditioners, and you also have refrigerators. You want to drink something cold, you need to have kulfis, you need to have ice cream. So but naturally your energy demand spikes in summers. Now just imagine that you have a smart meter. What that smart meter is doing? Okay, that smart meter is doing what? That smart meter is giving you device by device analysis, that which device is consuming more energy, which device is energy efficient, in which time period you consume the most energy, which device is the most efficient, which device is the least efficient, and what are your consumption patterns on a monthly basis, on a 6 monthly basis, on a yearly basis. So that way you can plan your bill. And if that smart meter can provide you all this information on an app, so what wonderful thing than this, that you can reduce your electric footprints. And if you reduce your electric footprints, but naturally you will tend to reduce your carbon footprint too. So this article in regards to this discussion only with regards to the smart meters technology. Okay, so just move ahead with this. Imagine a future where your electricity meter becomes your advisor. Okay, so this first paragraph is basically the advantages of smart meter. What are the advantages of smart meter? Imagine a future where your electricity meter becomes your advisor on all things of electricity. It tells you about electricity used during different times of the day, months and seasons. It notifies you the changes in power tariffs so that you plan your activities during low tariff periods. So you all know that the power tariffs tends to fluctuate state by state basis too. So you can plan your activities if the meter is telling you, okay, the power tariffs are changing. So when you will have peak power consumption, you can reduce your power tariffs. It points you to the appliances that are using more electricity than they should and suggests options to replace them with new efficient ones. So a smart meter will do all these things for you. It will tell you what are your consumption patterns, which device is most efficient, which device is less efficient. Okay, if the power tariffs are bound to increase, so you should consume power at which time of the day where the power tariffs are the least. So all of this can be done by a smart meter. And imagine you get all of this information on an app and all of this on a mobile app. So basically these are the advantages of a smart meter. Now, this information was fairly new to me. More than 5.5 million smart meters have been installed in India. So we have roughly 55 lakh smart meters already installed in India, over 100 million sanctioned. Just imagine 100 million have already been sanctioned in India. The target is to replace 250 million conventional electric meters with prepaid smart meters by 2025-2026. So guys, this is a very encouraging news that we have already sanctioned more than 100 million smart electric meters, and we tend to replace 250 million conventional meters by smart meters by 2025 to 2026. So just in 2 years we tend to do this. India is supporting this initiative through results link grant cum financing to help power distribution companies. India is supplementing this through what? Through results linked grant cum financing to help distribution companies become financially sound and efficient to deliver better services to the consumers. So results linked grant cum financing. Results linked grant cum financing. Okay, so results linked means what? So if a discom is educating a consumer properly, if their energy demand is going low, so they will receive good grants for their operation. So this is results linked grant cum financing to help power distribution companies to become financially sound and efficient to deliver better services to the consumers. Okay, so there has been a recent study as to how the smart meters have been utilized in India. You don't need to remember every aspect of this study, just 2 or 3 lines will be enough. Okay, the study covered around 2700 urban households that used prepaid or postpaid smart meters across 6 states. Half of the users reported improvements in billing regularity. 2/3 said paying bills had become easier. Around 40% of users alluded to multi-co benefits such as a greater sense of control over their electricity expenses and a drop in instances of electricity theft and improved power supply to the locality. So roughly 40% of the surveyed households said that yes, they have benefited greatly. They have reduced their consumption with regards to the efficiency of their appliances. They are happy that there is no electricity theft anymore and the power supply is being ensured in their neighborhood. Okay, now it does not mean that there are no challenges in any sector. Of course there are challenges. So let us discuss some of the challenges too. Okay, there are some road bumps though. For instance, half of the users were not using the smart meter mobile app, so digital literacy, and many were unable to access detailed electricity bills, leaving them doubtful about their bill consumption and deduction. Okay, so you have lapses with regards to digital literacy, you have lapses with regards to the availability of electricity bills. Okay, so logistical problems and digital literacy problems. Solving this will help bring a smart meter revolution in India. And you all know guys that as we are urbanizing more and more, as India tends to urbanize roughly 50, 60, 70% of its population, electricity demand is bound to increase. Okay, so here there are some suggestions in this article which can be used for supplementing the power sector, which can be used for supplementing the uptick of what? The uptick of smart meters in India. So you can remember these 4 suggestions from your mains perspective. Okay, and you can also quote them in essays too. So if you have any essay with regards to power sector of India. Okay, right now essays don't come from this perspective. All the essays, they do come philosophical, but if UPSC changes its direction, it being an evolving examination, if something comes in their head, so we don't know, so you should be prepared. So there are 4 suggestions with regards to this, what can be done to improve upon. So I will just read those suggestions. If you want, you can summarize these suggestions through the PDFs which are readily available to you, or you can just remember them. Okay, first, the Ministry of Power should drive a nationwide campaign to educate consumers about smart meter benefits and improve the uptake of smart meter app. So Ministry of Power should do what? Awareness campaigns. You all know awareness is very paramount in the induction of any new technology from consumers' perspective. So awareness campaigns need to be run by the Power Ministry. Number 2, the DISCOMs must co-own the program and take the driving seat. The majority of the smart meters in India are being deployed by the advanced metering infrastructure service providers responsible for installation and operation of AMI system for the project lifeline of 10 years. So DISCOM should do what? DISCOMs should themselves take this in their hem. Right now, who is managing the installation of meters? It is being managed by advanced metering infrastructure service providers. But what should be done? The DISCOMs must co-own the program and take the driving seat. So the DISCOM should not be dependent on any service provider for installation of the meters. They should do them themselves. Number third, the DISCOMs, systems integrators and technology providers should collaborate to devise innovative and scalable data solutions. Effective use of smart meter data is fundamental to unlocking their true value proposition. What do you mean by this? So whatever data is being generated by the smart meters, this data must be put to efficient use. So what you need to do, guys, you need to do Hindu analysis over here. The same exercise that we are doing on a daily basis, the same exercise needs to be done here too. You need to analyze the data. Why? Because unless and until you analyze data, unless and until you give the consumer its consumption patterns, their consumption efficiency, what is the use of generating the data? So utilitarian perspective. So analysis and utilitarian perspective of the article. And here again, guys, you can use what? Here again, you can use Web3. Okay, I'm again quoting this. So we have discussed 7 to 8 examples of Web3. This is the 9th example of Web3, wherein you can use the decentralized data system analytics of Web3 in supporting or in generating the data and maintaining the data. Okay. And the 4th thing, policymakers and regulators must strengthen the regulations to empower consumers to unlock new retail markets. Okay, so there must be some regulation, there must be some policy, okay, to empower consumers to unlock new retail markets too. Okay, retail markets in the sense that whichever company is providing you the smart meters, you should have increased access to that. So guys, this was one of the very pleasant articles. This was one of the most pleasant recent news. Majority of the articles that we do, they are from a negative perspective, but this is from a positive perspective article. So I'm happy. I'm carrying a smile on my face. I hope that you all, those who are watching me, Yogesh, Gautam, Anup, you are all happy that yes, finally some positive news per se. Okay, so let's move ahead to the discussion of the next article. Next article is fairly important from the prelims perspective. You can have one liner. Okay, this article, it is with regards to Project Sanjay. Okay, so Project Sanjay and BBS, Battlefield Surveillance System. Okay, so now what happens is whenever a consignment or whenever a battalion goes for fighting, you need to have what? You need to have centralized monitoring system wherein you have coordination between the different organs. So communication, weaponry, arsenal, transportation. So you need to have a centralized monitoring system which can monitor everything and which can assist the soldiers on the battlefield. So there has been a new project called as Project Sanjay. Under this, a new battlefield surveillance system is being implemented by the Indian Army. So this is article with regards to that only. Please remember this from prelims perspective. Okay. Army formations at all levels, from commander on the ground to corps level, will soon have a real-time common operating picture with information and data from various sensors and inputs fused into one comprehensive image for quick decision making. So let's say that Indian army is being sent to a treacherous terrain like Ladakh, like the forests of Chhattisgarh, okay, wherein you have Maoist insurgency. So imagine that you have real-time data. Real-time data means if a battalion is going and from some end attack is starting, so the people on the other end don't know that the attack has started. So if they have centralized communication system, they can immediately revert back to that attack side. They can circumvent and they can attack from behind. So you will have what? A real-time common operating picture with information and data from various sensors and inputs fused into one comprehensive image for quick decision making. A new battlefield surveillance system, BSS, under Project Sanjay is in the process of being deployed after extensive validation carried out in the plains, deserts and the mountains. So everywhere we have tested this. We have tested the battlefield surveillance system under Project Sanjay in all the terrains. We have tested this in the plains, we have tested it in the deserts, and we have also tested it in the mountain. Okay. And what are the objectives of Project Sanjay? This is very important. This is among a series of automation projects being rolled out, which are expected to cumulatively improve what? Operational efficiency. We need to improve India's operational efficiency, enhance battlefield awareness for commanders on the ground, and also provide functional efficiency for human resource management, logistics, inventory management, medical services, and other administrative functions, sources said. So, if in one umbrella I am giving you the advantages of Project Sanjay or the objectives of Project Sanjay, it is operational efficiency, it is functional efficiency in resource management, in logistics, in inventory management, in medical services and other administrative functions too. So umbrella term will be efficiency, operational efficiency, functional efficiency, and also the functional efficiency of the humans too, of the soldiers too. Why? Because ultimately we are doing this for whom? We are doing this for the soldiers. So please this keep in mind. And which is the company which is doing this, which is integrating the data from the sensors, which is manufacturing the sensors? You have Bharat Electronics Limited, Ghaziabad is the project systems integrator, and after hundreds of trial across terrains, it has shown a rate of success of more than 95%. So the success rate is more than 95%, guys. Please keep this in mind. Okay, 95% meeting the army's aspirations and requirement. So this is very important, guys. So please remember that now India will have a centralized battlefield surveillance system under Project Sanjay, and we will be utilizing that primarily for encouraging or for giving real-time inputs with regards to communication, with regards to inventories, with regards to logistics, medical services, administrative functions, thus evolving our overall efficiency from logistic perspective, from humanistic perspective, and from battlefield perspective too. And which is the company? Bharat Electronics Limited, Ghaziabad, and name of the operation is Operation Sanjay. Okay, so now let's move ahead to the discussion of the next article. Okay, so this is a headline article, guys. I want you all to remember again this from a prelims perspective. Okay, so center looks into options to counter EU's carbon tax plan. Okay, so this is a headline news, guys. Headline news in the sense of what? That what European Union is trying to do. European Union is trying to impose a new tax on those countries which export goods. I'm again reiterating, European Union is trying to impose a carbon tax on those countries which export goods which are not manufactured using green technologies. which do have a heavy carbon footprint in their manufacturing. So let's say if India is exporting this marker to Europe, okay, and this marker is manufactured in India, but the manufacturing process of this marker in India is not carbon neutral. It is having a heavy carbon footprint. So now European Union will impose a new carbon tax. Okay. The Commerce Ministry is exploring various options to cope up with the European Union's decision to introduce a new carbon tax, including retaliatory tariff measures. The EU plans to introduce a carbon border administration mechanism, CBAM, carbon border administration mechanism, that will entail a monitoring mechanism for imports from producers deploying non-green technology starting this October, and a tax levy from January 2026. This is likely to hit Indian metal and engineering products exports to the EU. Okay, so from January 2026, European Union will do what? Under carbon border assessment adjustment mechanism, CBAM, carbon border adjustment mechanism. So if India is exporting this marker to Europe, and if this marker is not being manufactured using carbon green technologies or green technologies, then European Union will impose a new cess, new tax on the import of this marker. And which industries in India are likely to fall short? The Indian metals and engineering products exports to the EU. Okay, you all know that right now in India, the manufacturing of engineering goods of metals is not that carbon neutral. So these industries are bound to get hampered in India. So just remember this news again from a headline perspective, again majorly from a premise perspective. And if you have any question with regards to the foreign policy challenges with European Union, you can refer to this article too. Okay, so the last article of today, again you can use this as a case study in solid waste management, or you can quote this everywhere in your answers of solid waste management. Do we have regulatory mechanisms? Do we have any fines with regards to solid waste management? Yes. Okay, Bihar to pay 4,000 crore for failure in waste management. Okay, so which body is imposing this tax on Bihar? Bihar, you all know the sad state of Bihar, but we have to improve. So we cannot live in the sense LEAVE. We cannot live the backward states of India in a lingo. No, it's our duty that we bring out the states in the broad daylight. Okay, so the National Green Tribunal NGT has levied a 4,000 crore environmental compensation on Bihar for failing to scientifically manage solid waste and liquid waste. The amount will be used for setting up solid waste processing facilities, remediation of legacy waste, and setting up of sewage treatment plants and special surge and seepage treatment plants. To there remains no gap, the NGT bench said. So what the NGT is saying, where you should utilize these funds, you should utilize these funds for setting up solid waste processing facilities, for remediation of legacy waste. Legacy waste means which waste has already been accumulated over the years. Number 3, setting up of sewage treatment plants. The sewage needs to be treated. Number 4, fecal surge and septage treatment plants. Okay, so whatever fecal matter comes out from the households and whatever septic matter comes from the household, so that needs to be treated too. So fecal sludge and septage treatment plants. So there remains no gap. So these are the areas where the NGT is saying Bihar should focus upon and should invest this 4,000 crore. Fine. Okay, so guys, this sums up today's articles for you all. I hope you find all these articles very good from utilitarian perspective. I'm again reiterating my name. My name is Pritesh Mathurkar. You can reach out to me on Telegram by doing a global search at The Hindu Analysis. The name of the channel is HAZ, and mind you, I want each one of you to make it special Hindu Analysis Zone by your dedications to this, by your commitments to this particular channel. Okay, so on the behalf of StudyIQ IAS English, I sign off for this week. Now we'll be meeting on Monday, May 8th, and on May 8th I will be discussing the current affairs of that present day, and if time permits, we'll also include Sunday's current affairs, that is May 7th. Otherwise, I will try to cringe in one article on the subsequent days too. So guys, please work hard and smart. Please utilize this content from the mains perspective, from the prelims perspective properly, and make sure that you feel comfortable with the current affairs. I'm ending my session in this way, that you need to make yourself comfortable with the current affairs, because unless and until you make yourselves comfortable with current affairs, you will not start enjoying them. Okay, so I want each one of you to enjoy the current affairs. Some of the current affairs will bring a smile, some of the current affairs will bring a sad state, and some of the current affairs will be neutral. So we have to move ahead. Life goes on, we have to move on. Okay, so have a happy weekend, everyone. Please study properly, work hard and smart. Okay, thank you all. I will see you on Monday.